Monty Nefaro, Long Island's #1 pro wrestling broadcast scene here every Thursday, produced out of Indie Music TV in Ronkonkoma, New York. As promised, we have Hall of Famer, superstar, Mr. Tony Atlas, who's a frequent visitor to the Monty Nefaro show. We love having him here. We're almost out of time. The star of the show will choose one question for Mr. Atlas to answer before we close out. Faro, it's all yours, brother.
Well, my apologies to our producer because my question is not on the page.
There you go,
well,
Faro.
When
screws us over already,
That's
Matt.
right, the king of
Bam.
improv. Work with me, brother. Here we go. I have to know this. When you were doing the blow and you blew it, and they were going to make you world champion, were they going to turn you heel against Bob Backlund?
No.
Wait a minute. Was Bob going to be turned heel? Someone had to. Bob Backlund was going to be a heel.
Makes sense. He was a heel.
How were you given any?
Because they saw that he was not getting over. See, the world changed, not Bob. The world changed.
Sure. Attitudes were shifting. Attitudes were shifting. No doubt.
By the 80s, people started disliking the good guys.
Oh, yeah.
It started with Derry Harry. Remember Derry Harry?
Mm-hmm. Sure.
Derry Harry was the bad,
Sure.
the cop, broke all the rules.
Dirty
They loved
Harry.
him.
Yeah.
You take Terminator.
Sure.
They loved them.
Sure.
You know, it came to kill humor. They loved them. The bad guy started becoming the hero. Attitude Earl with Stone Cold Steve Austin.
Oh, yeah.
So by the time Steve Austin came on side, people was ready for this badass.
Were you given?
And then what happened? People got tired. They used to call Bob Backlund how they do this.
Right.
Yeah.
Because he
We
was
did all the
nice.
time.
They got tired of the nice guys. You understand what I'm saying?
Were you given
Because
any
Hogan-
details how
and
he
they
was going to
turned
change?
They started liking a heel. Hogan
Right.
was a heel.
Right.
He was not a babyface.
Right.
The people turned Hogan. Look at people love Ric Flair now. He was a heel in the 70s. In the 80s, he was a freaking babyface. They started liking the bad guys more than the good guys. And I saw it in the late 70s when fans would come and would boo the good guy and cheer the bad guy. We thought they were trying to be assholes, to be honest with you, but the world changed.
Did Graham start a lot of that, Superstar Graham? Because he was pretty popular for a bad guy.
Who is that?
Superstar Billy Graham?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, they loved him.
Yeah.
They loved him. He bragged. Ric Flair, they loved him. And they started liking in wrestling, they wanted to see the bad guy.
Right.
The good guy was boring as crap to
Were
them.
you ever given any details on how Backlund was going to turn heel? I'm just so curious about
No,
this.
because what ended up happening, I left before he got off the ground. Me and Backlund only had one match. It was in Baltimore, Maryland, and I won. It was
Okay.
a non-title match.
You pinned him?
You pinned him?
No, what happened, I leapfrogged him. I leapfrogged him, and Backlund raised up, and his head hit me in the crotch. And they DQ Backlund and raised my hand.
Wow.
Interesting.
And we
Wow.
could come back for the rematch after we dropped the title, but it was already working towards that.
Wow.
And Lou Albano said, Tony, if you don't mess up, Freddie Blassett and Lou Albano said, if you don't mess up, he said, you got the green light. They going all the way with you.
Okay.
All the way with you.
Okay.
Vince had planned, and I think that's what made him so angry at me, is because I walked, and they lost millions of dollars when I done that.
Right.
And the territory counter was hurt for a long time until
Okay.
Hogan came back.
Right.
See?
Right.
And then Hogan came back and revitalized things. So they found a person, Vince found a person. He wasn't as talented as the other wrestler. He wasn't as good a wrestler, but he was dependable.
Right. If
Wait,
okay.
let me get one
ahead.
in. All right,
Go
and
ahead.
we could get a picture up, Max. I'm going to get it
Oh,
right.
okay.
I have to get a picture one in.
Okay.
What do you know about the Ring Boy scandal back in
Who?
the Ring Boy scandals in the 80s?
Oh.
Well, the guy they crucified had nothing to do with it. Mel Phillips. See, Mel Phillips was a go for it. Go for this, go for that.
Go for this.
And so
Right,
what
okay.
Mel Phillips would do, he would go and get young boys to satisfy some of the people in the office that had a fantasy for young boys.
Who would those
Oh,
be?
was that-
Who would that be,
is
Tony?
Pete-
Well, from what
PP?
I hear, I mean, I wasn't in office. From what I hear,
You could just guess.
yeah, but from what I hear, it was for Pat Patterson. From what I hear,
There he
Okay,
is again,
so go
PP.
for Pat.
With his people.
well, he was a go for everybody. That was his job.
Okay.
That, you know, and he ran the ring crew, and he would get these young boys, and you know, and from what I hear, they had some stuff going on in the room, and I guess word got back to one of the kids' parents who went home bragging about all the gifts and stuff he was getting from this pro wrestling.
Oh, boy. What picture did you put up for this anyway?
Yeah.
I don't even want to know.
Matt missed. He put up the Von Erich picture.
I gotta get one more.
All right, one more. We're
You know
closing
that
the
case
show.
is still pending?
It is?
It never went to trial.
I had no idea.
Wow.
Remember they showed on TV Patterson hiding and they're trying to talk to him. He hid in his house.
Yeah,
in New
yeah,
Jersey.
Yeah.
Vince almost lost the company behind that. That was big stuff.
He stood by Pat, though.
One last question before we let you go, and thank you once again for coming down and being a friend to the show. We really appreciate it. Last question. Okay, Tony Atlas is going to be given the world title.
Are you still on this?
I got to know. Bob Backlund is turning heel. What happens if that night, the night you're supposed to be champion, what if Bob decided to go into business for himself? Can you still take that title from him, or was Backlund as bad of a MO as we've heard? I mean,
it's actually a pretty good question.
I mean, would you be able to take it from him if Bob didn't want you to take it from him?
If I got my hand on him,
Okay.
yes.
Interesting. Backlund was very tough, though. Legit tough, though,
But
right?
he was very tough.
Okay.
In a wrestling match, Backlund would beat me. That's the
Okay.
reason I said I had a 650 bench.
Man.
The heaviest man I ever lift over my head was 460. Backlund weighed about 250.
Right.
To me, that's curling weight.
Right.
I used to
He's
look
a
at people.
paperweight.
In my younger days, that's how I used to fight. I used to look
Right.
at people as weight.
Right.
So I figure if I could lift you, I could beat you.
Okay.
Vince McMahon gave me that idea, senior. He said, Tony, if you could press slam him, you could pin him. That's how come I got to pin Sergeant Slaughter. That's how come I got to pin Hulk Hogan.
You beat them all, man.
You did.